Iowa released new contract information about Brian Ferentz yesterday, and we have to talk about this because it's fun and ridiculous, and it's Iowa. So, it's on brand for them. As our Iowa site, Black Heart Gold Pants, states so well in this headline, uh, Brian Ferentz's contract amendment is as bungled as Iowa's offense. So, as you know, Kirk Ferentz is the head coach at Iowa. Brian Ferentz is his son. And they get around Iowa's nepotism laws by having Brian work for Gary Barta, the Iowa athletic director. And the new contract that came out yesterday it stipulates some performance guarantees for Brian. And if he doesn't meet them, he will be fired next season, automatically fired. Then they don't say fired anymore. They say things like contract not renewed because it sounds much nicer. But here's the thing about these new contract amendment. He gets a 5% salary reduction from $900,000 a year to $850,000 a year. That's just a massive blow to Brian. And then his new contract stipulates that the Iowa team must score 25 points per game next season. Now, it doesn't stipulate if these are offensive or defensive points. And if Iowa football, their defense is very good every year because they have a good coach on that side of the ball. And they are capable of scoring defensive points all of the time. So he doesn't even have to really score 25 offensive points per game, just the team. Think about that. 14 of the last 20 years, Iowa has met that mark. And that's, again, according to the article that I'll link to in the notes. The last 2 years, they missed that. In the last 2 years, Brian has been the offensive coordinator. Last season, 85 other teams scored 25 points per game or more. And in 85th in the nation was Arkansas State at 25.0 points per game. Now that is scoring offense, so Brian could actually be lower than that ranked nationally and probably still keep his job. The other stipulation was a minimum of 7 wins, a mark that includes the bowl game, by the way, not just regular seasons. And that mark Iowa has met every year since 2012. Now, like I said, if he doesn't meet these parameters, he will be fired next season, which is the massive amounts of pressure on the Iowa offensive coordinator. This has to be the most passive-aggressive contract that I can think of ever in football. But what it does is it sets up a very interesting scenario. I mean, think about they're coming into the last game against Nebraska next season, and Brian isn't hitting, the team isn't hitting, Iowa isn't hitting 25 points per game. What will happen? Because this will be a huge factor going into the game. Some people will bring this up because it's hilarious. It is hilarious, for God's sakes. You remember last season, Nebraska beat Iowa, kept them from winning the Big Ten West. Never get tired of mentioning that. But I want you to think about something for a moment. When you look at Iowa football, I mean, they have really exceptional special teams. I mean, punting, we all make jokes about Iowa punting, but they're damn good at it. Their defense is always very, very good. They put people into the NFL off their defense. And they are well coached on defense. And you look at Iowa football and you think, what could they be a good team if they actually tried? I mean, if they actually got an offensive coordinator. It looks like they've made a lot of. I mean, they have Cade McNamara coming in from Michigan next year, and he's not exactly the statuesque quarterbacks they've always had in the past. He could, put in some quarterback run. I don't know, a zone read here or there, an inverted veer, and maybe you've got more of an offense there, Brian, if Kirk allows you to recognize that those are actual plays that you can run in a modern offense. But it's interesting to just look at Iowa and go, my God, the Big Ten West is wide open. It's still a mess. You have new coaches coming in. You just going to stay there, Iowa? Yes, you are, because that's on brand for you. I'm John Johnston, Coordination. Like this video. Tell your friends. Go make fun of everybody from Iowa. Well, not the Iowa State fans. They have their own problems. So you still make fun of them. I hope you're doing well, and go Big Red.